Diablo 2 was one of my childhood games which I again didn't finish. I only did normal and nightmare, but I never actually finished the game in hell. So I figured I would retry and try to finish the game in hell, but obviously we have to add a challenge. And I was thinking, what if you cannot use consumables? And not just and I know, you're gonna think about, oh, you can't use healing potion, mana potion, but you can actually use town portals, identification scroll. But here's the real part: you cannot use gold, and you also cannot use any arrows and any type of, projectile. But you cannot use gear that does not repair itself. Yep, I do count them as a consumable because once the durability is 0, you pretty much consume the item. And I know you can repair it, but I kind of figure that's kind of cheating because you're asking for a service. So yeah, this challenge sounded pretty ridiculous because there aren't any, almost no items with auto repairing system. See, you're pretty much asking almost no gear challenge. Well, there is no way you can beat the game, obviously, with no potions, no gear, and no gold at the same time. So, like, there is no way you can do it. There is no person who would try this because this is the dumbest idea that ever existed. Hi, my name is Ropi, and today we are doing a challenge called No Consumable, which means we cannot use any type of potion, any type of scrolls, and any type of gear that doesn't repair itself, and also we cannot use gold, which pretty much no mercenaries neither. Now I picked Amazon for two reasons, and I will talk about it later, but I didn't want to pick a summoner because I felt like that's kinda in a way a cheating. But Amazon sounded like the most fair character for this challenge and probably the only character that can actually finish this challenge. And I know it sounds weird, but let me explain. Now the first thing we did, we sell all our potions, scrolls and items, although I could have just dropped it out because again I cannot use gold, but once I did and started venturing outside and started boxing. Yeah, for a long time. Now, why I picked Amazon? Well, first thing first, casters typically decent without gear, but pretty bad without mana potion, and they are really mana starving. And without mana potion, I can't really use that my spell. And melee, any type of melee non-caster classes will also have the problem that they cannot use weapon unless it's auto repair itself. But yeah, getting a weapon without auto repair itself is almost nearly impossible. But here comes Amazon. Bows do not have durability nor quantity for the reason that they all already using arrows, which is a consumable, of course. But Amazon has a skill called magic shot, which is creating an arrow from the bow instead of consuming one from the arrow. Which means I can actually use a bow with the magic shot skill without consuming anything and without having a weapon that has a durability. Now it does cost mana, but the more points you put on it, the less mana it will cost until it reaches 0 mana, so this skill actually really good at the start. Although I still need to find a bow which the game doesn't really like to give me. Now healing might look like a problem since we do not have any type of healing potion, but luckily if you go back to the camp and speak with Akama, she will fully restore you. Now there are also shrines and pylons which you can use as a buff or health shrine to restore your life. Now you might consider them as consumable, but since they regenerate after like 5 to 10 minutes, I consider them as not a consumable since you can use them infinite amount of times. Now for our first objective was to clear out a cave, defeat every enemy in it. And that cave always have one champion unit, which is Corfire. And if you don't know what's a champion, it's pretty much a stronger version of any unit and also has an ability which was spectral hitting this time. But with a good tactical level up which fully heals us up, we slowly but surely cleared out the cave. Diablo has multiple rarity gear. White, which has no stats, so we do not care about them since it cannot have auto repair since that's also a stat. blue, which has 1 or 2 stats, and yellow, orange, green, which have multiple stats, set item, or legendary items. So our point was to pick up every blue or any higher level rarity. But here's the problem. For these items you need to identify them, or you cannot actually see the item nor wear them. But I cannot use scroll of identification, which means my only way to identify is to complete the objective 3 on Act 1 to free the card cane, which is kind of far away, and without weapon it sounds a pain. So I started farming pretty much with no weapon, which was pretty slow, but I needed a weapon, and my goal was to find a white bow. And white because that's the only color I can wear, because as I said, identification scroll is needed for any higher rarity. But since bows do not have any durability, I can wear a white bow without a problem. I just need to find one. But the game didn't want me to have a bow, because I farmed till level 7 until finally a grey, which is pretty much a white bow, dropped. And also grey bow means it's white, but you can put socket, but socket is a consumable, so we cannot use that. Now with my newly acquired bow, I decided I will kill Bloodraven, since I was already next to her by farming the crypts, and I get a free mercenary when I defeat her. Although when she dies I cannot resurrect him since I have to use gold, but for the first time I can have a little assistance. Although mana is still a problem because I'm not high level enough to put enough point on magic arrow to not cost mana, so sometime to time I still need to 1v1 in an unarmed fight. With my newly acquired bow and mercenary, I decided I will start rushing towards the card cane so I can identify item. So at the first I found the stone field, found the stones where I can enter the portal for the card cane later, and then I went for the dark route to find the bears, so I can click on the tree, get the scroll and open up the portal for stone field to the card cane. Although my mercenary didn't live for long enough, because when I found the bell there were a lot of enemies, like a lot, and my mercenary for some reason really liked to tank even though she's an archer, so rip her. I mean, she lived for like half an hour, but hey, every help helped, so I still killed the bear and finally we can go to the card cane. Now I straight up rushed to the card cane. I didn't care about anything, freed him and went back to the town to identify all the blue items and yellow items that I got during the adventure. Now there are 3 types of items that are important: amulets, rings and charms. Amulets and rings are the only items that you can wear and does not have a durability, so all the rings and amulets could potentially be an upgrade since I can wear all of them. Now charms on the other hand, no durability, but they are not gear, they have to sit in your bag to give you an effect. They're usually not strong effects, but I mean, I need everything. I have no gear. Although I did get a body armor which had a repair 1 durability in every 33 seconds, which means we can wear this gear. I mean, the stats weren't that good. To be honest, it was a really bad item, but I mean, it's better than nothing, so we finally have at least a body armor. Also, I got this legendary. I cannot wear it, but hey, at least I already got a legendary to not wear. So yeah, nice. Now for the last 2 important item I got this bow, which was a little bit better than mine thanks to the add lightning damage and poison damage, and trust me, I need every damage since magic arrow might not consume ammo, but it also does almost no damage. And I also got this axe, which I didn't use much, but it still had an auto repair, and from time to time I still needed to fight boxing, which means I actually had an axe. Although not that much, it was just for a couple of levels, like 1 or 2, before I can just spam magic arrow. Now for the rest of the gear I will show you, but I'm not gonna talk about this because most of them were like pretty useless. I mean, it's still stats, still helpful, but I mean 20 maximum stamina, that's not something I'm gonna jump for joy. And if you don't know, in Diablo 2 stamina isn't health, but running. You can run longer before you have to walk, that's it. It's really useless. Now I started to make my way to Andariel, which is the boss for this act, and I have to defeat her to proceed to the next act. But my damage is really weak. Since my only skill I can use is magic arrow, it almost does no damage, because every skill point you put, it only increases the damage by 1. Wow. It does reduce the mana cost, which is why I did put skill point, but the damage does not increase. And since I'm using a bow, every other skill in the tree requires arrows to use, which means I cannot use those skills. So my only hope for the further, I need to find a spear, and I can go in melee, which auto repairs, and I can use the javelin skill to fight. But for now, I have to deal with this really low amount of DPS, especially against Fallens, which have shields and keep blocking my attack non-stop. Like I have like 95% chance to hit them, but for some reason that 95% chance is the other way, because it's 5% the amount they block. Now I did get a new bow, which it did more damage, but that more damage isn't that much more damage, and you can see my damage isn't that high. Yeah, it's not good. I'm so used to having like 100 damage instead of this, what I have. But hey, it's an upgrade and we need everything. Now with my toothpick shooter that deals almost no damage, I ventured forward. I'm not gonna show you the whole grinding part because, my man, it's really boring, but I will show you some clip. And also, we still do not have a way to heal, nor any way to gain health other than going back to the town and heal with Akama or just find a health friend, which means health was really important to play around. I really didn't want to get hit, since there is no way to regenerate other than going back to the town. And trust me, I don't want to go back to the town. That's so much time just wasting, running back, healing, then running forward again. Because once again, I cannot open a scroll of time portal. I need to find a waypoint or go back to the previous waypoint to heal up. Yeah, this was really grindy, especially with my toothpick shooter. But we managed to reach Andariel. I did get some new charms and some rings and amulets, but nothing noteworthy to be honest, other than this one charm, which only deals 1 to 2 cold damage. It isn't much, it pretty much almost no damage increase, but the part of the cold is interesting, because if you deal cold damage, the enemy will be slowed down. Even if it's for a half a second, that slow was really good for an archer that always trying to kite because doesn't want to get hit, since I have no way to heal, especially during a boss fight where I cannot really escape. I did get some new charms and I think even rings, but nothing noteworthy to talk about. So here's the fight against Andariel, but I'm gonna say something while the fight goes. There is an extra rule that I didn't talk about. If I die to the boss, I have to restart. I do not want to defeat the boss by just going in, attacking, dying, going in, attacking, dying, and slowly chipping his health off. Once I die, I have two options. Or wait long enough for the boss to fully regenerate health, or just save and quit the game and restart the game so everything respawns and the boss will also be at full health. I do not wanna fight in cheat mode that I'm just keep dying but slowly chipping his health away, so this is why the rule exists. And that applies for Andariel too, and every other end act boss, which is Duriel, Mephisto, Diablo and Bale. Now after a long but actually not that long fight, we defeated Andariel and Act 1 was finally finished. Now I went back, checked the loot, almost nothing dropped, but this 1 to 3 damage fire damage charm was actually kinda useful because I need damage increase. And I also got this yellow ring, which mostly was extra gold from monsters, which is the most useful stuff for me because I really need more gold, as you see. I only have 500. I really need to get more gold, so yeah, this ring really helps me. And I can't wait to get more gold to not spend. Yeah. Now with my 5 trustworthy charms, which was mostly increasing my most important stats, which is maximum stamina, it is time to actually go to Act 2. But of course not without saying goodbye to all my loots that I cannot wear, but I wish I could. It's so sad to see them on the ground. Now the first thing I did is went to the basement and defeat Rodament for my objective 1, so I can earn an extra skill point. But I realized that mummies, which is a Rodament is, actually gonna be really dangerous, because they raise skeletons. But I mean, by itself it doesn't sound that bad, although I'm just simply doing no damage and they can raise skeleton faster than me. Also, by being in the basement, I got this amazing legendary weapon. Wow, wish I could use that. Then I venture into the desert and I already met 2 enemies that I despise. A shield guy and leapers, which is so hard to hit with a bow, especially how many times I just miss even though I hit. Like, I can see the arrow hitting it and there is no X mark that I missed, yet nothing happens. These were so annoying since I did no damage and they were just jumping everywhere. Also, shield guys. You know what's up with the shield guys, they keep blocking my arrows. And since we're already talking about shield guys, we have reached the hollow ones that can raise skeletons. And the skeletons have shield. Yep, not just they are faster to raise skeletons than I'm killing them, but now yeah, it's way faster because I'm actually not hitting the skeletons because of the shield. And I can't just go in because I do not have health. If I just rainbow inside to find the mummy and kill it, most likely I will just die thanks to having no health regeneration, nothing, just 30 health and a dream. Now you might have noticed on my action, but I got a new skill, which is inner sight and slow missiles. Now, both of them are useless. One of them reduces the defense and one of them reduces the ranged missile speeds. I mean, not useless, but technically not really useful either. I only put points on them because I want what's below it in the skill tree. But they actually become kinda useful, but not because of the effect they do, but because whenever I use the skill, it will use an AoE effect on them. But the important part, as you can see, behind the wall, it lights them up. There is a little light now on the ground where the enemy is, even though I don't see them, so I actually know where the enemy is gonna be. It's kinda useful. I reached Halls of Death level 3, where I defeated the champion that guards the chest, which is the Heraldic Cube is, which I need for a quest item, and also it's kinda an extra backpack. Although the Heraldic Cube is a really useful item where you can combine things to make it stronger, but by combining them you kinda consume the item, so pretty much I can't use the cube for anything other than quest items so I can progress. What surprised me the most in this challenge is that how key heavy the game is. Like, the amount of luck chest in the game is way more than I expected, that my whole chat is just all about that I need key. Need a key. Now, meeting our new enemies, the Dung Beater, the game quickly changed from hack and slash to bullet hell because oh my god, there is lightning everywhere, and since you know my case with my health, I do not want to get hit by the lightning. And our next destination is Maggot Lair because I need a staff from a quest item. And I just moved really slowly. I shot ahead so I can see and hoping I hit something, and spamming my ability that I talked about that kinda gives a little light where the enemies are. And just hoping I don't run into those dung beaters or scarab in this one to light me down to death. But once we reached the end of the Maggot Lair, we found the champion and tons of enemies. Like, little Timmy just went nuts and copy-pasted every enemy in that little hole. I can see it like the dad just let the kid just do whatever he wants. But in the end, we killed the champion, which was pretty easy because he was stationary and just shot him from afar, and we got the staff. Now our next destination was the Claw Viper Temple, level 1 to level 2, and when we finally found it, my character just dissed me, like, okay, I know I'm not doing good, but chill, man, it's a challenge, right?
I hope I know what I'm doing.
No, I don't. What kind of question? What? I hope I know what I'm doing. What? Why would you ask that? You came here so far and this is what you ask now? Since we are back in the temple, our old friend is back. Hollow Knight that raises skeletons. Yay! We also have a new enemy, the snakes, which is... I mean, they have a higher, longer range than melee, but they still kinda need to be in melee. So it's not that bad, is what I thought. And oh boy, I was wrong. Once I entered the level 2, there was an elite snake, a champion snake with tons of minions, which had fast. They were so fast and they were stunning me so badly, they just got me and killed me. And whenever I returned to my weapon, they just camped the door and killed me again. And even with pause buffering, I just could not do anything. I kinda got stuck. This is where I kept dying. But one more time with pause buffering, I actually managed to get my corpse and fight back. But then I realized the big problem that I never fixed. I clicked enemies instead of moving because I do not have force move, because I could not find it and I really needed force move. After dying so many times because I clicking enemy instead of moving and also trying out how can I force move, I realized maybe instead of searching in the gameplay option, maybe I should search on the control one, and hold and behold, I found the force move. Wow, I thought this game didn't have force move, so I never looked at the control, but there is a force move. And with that, we went back and fight the champion. This was definitely the dumbest way to get stuck in a game and wasting almost an hour because you are blind and you can't see a simple force move in the option. I even looked up the internet, which told me it's in the control. Like, my god, this is your guy that actually doing the challenge. A guy that can't read option menus. My Ozone wasn't all that bad because we got a new loot, a bow, which did less damage than ours, but it has 4% life stolen per hit. This was a way to finally heal instead of running back to the village or playing with 1 health and playing bullet hells to avoid lightnings. You don't know how much I suffered with my health by always trying to dodge, but this was finally a way to actually heal up. Now normally life per stolen hits is a pretty average or even a bad stat, I would say, but for this challenge this is amazing. We can finally heal, even though not much, I don't care. This is something to use. I mean, look at it. My health is actually going up. It was so wonderful. I don't have to run all the time. I can time to time get hit because I can heal, even though this is the most pathetic healing, but still it's healing. I was so happy. Now with my newfound power of healing, we just cruise through the arcane sector and found summoner which we need to kill to know which rune is Duriel hiding in. And yeah, he just actually died off screen. Like, I guess this was a champion, but now we know where Duriel is hiding and it is time to face him. But I did realize something. I am far too weak. I'm absolutely doing no damage and Duriel is a no-joke boss. Once I enter his lair, I cannot leave, and the tiny room that he is in, I cannot really kite neither. Also, he is faster than me and every auto attack he does is pretty much my 50% of my life. Also, he has a cold aura which makes me slow. I have no chance of defeating him. It's not like I can just burst him down and kill him before he does, because I just die. And remember the rule, if I die, I have to restart. And you can see, I have absolutely no damage, and let's talk about the survivability. I have none neither. I have no cold resist against him. I have no potions I can use against him. There is nothing I can do. If I just go in, I'm gonna die. To hell. We even forgot about Duriel. I was so weak that even Hollow Knights were just killing me. I just could not kill anything anymore. I'm literally doing absolutely no damage. I can say I got stuck because I need to defeat the boss to progress, but there is no way I can do that. But I didn't give up. I went back farming since I was almost level 23 and I wanted to reach 24, because in Diablo every 6 levels you get a new skill tree pretty much, where you can choose new abilities. Now, as I said, there is a reason why I put skill points on inner sight, because I want the skill below it, which was called decoy. Now decoy is just a dummy. It does nothing, but it's pretty much just a target dummy that the enemies can hit. And my plan was pretty much put that down, hope it can actually survive while I nuke the boss. After a long grinding, we finally reached level 24 and we can get Decoy. But here's the problem, it costs 19 mana. I have 64 and I do not have potions to restore it. I mean, I can pretty much summon maybe 4 during a battle against Duriel, but that's about it. And there is no way I have enough damage to even kill a boss under 40 seconds. This was still not gonna be enough. So I put every charm in my bag, which was pretty much maximum stamina and maximum mana, since the game doesn't really like me with charms, I guess. But mana was actually useful this time, because that means I can use more, you know, decoys. So I might be able to maybe do something. So I went and checked Duriel. So I went in and ready to fight, summoned a decoy, and Duriel just completely ignored it and almost killed me. So yeah, this fight was pretty one-sided. I have no chance, but what can I do? So I restarted the game and cleared the way back to Duriel to try again. Now for the second try I did not bring my mana charm, but the boss actually managed to hit my decoy and tried my best, but yeah, the fight wasn't even close. Even with mono charms, I am just not gonna kill him. I did like 20% of his life and I'm already out of mana, and yeah, he just killed me. Because I'm just too hit for him. After all, I do not have any armor. I am stuck. While I was clearing my way towards Duriel, a yellow pylum drops, which I actually almost didn't pick up because a pylum is a javelin, and javelin has quantity, which means I'm actually throwing them, which means it's ammunition, which means it's a consumable. But that was almost a fatal mistake, because once I reached Duriel, I went back to the town and obviously checked what gear dropped, and this javelin, oh my god. Now I did get a ring with lifesteal, but here it is, the javelin. Look at it. It has mana stolen per hit, and most importantly, replenishes quantity, which means it actually regenerates the quantity in it. It has infinite amount of throwing object. This is not a consumable anymore. I can't use it. I didn't even know this is a stat. But this actually saved the run. Not just that I can actually use another weapon other than magic arrows, now I can actually go javelin build, but it also has mana stolen per hit, which means I can summon more decoys as long as I hit the boss. This was amazing, and I quickly changed talents and went to poison spear so I can poison the boss, because that's the best talent I can pick. And by poison spear I mean plague javelin. Now I brought all my charm and there was another attempt. Although he did ignore my decoy, but after a wrong running ahead I managed to actually get him hit my decoy. And this time I threw my javelin, and you can see my mana is actually going up. This felt so good. And his health is actually reducing now. All I have to do is just keep hitting him to get mana and summon decoys. That's it. That's all I have to do. And with that new strategy, Duriel has fell down and we finished Act 2, moving to Act 3. But Duriel was really kind to us, because once she actually died, she dropped tons of loot, and these loots weren't a joke actually. They were really good. I mean, look at it. Well, not this one. Skip this one, I cannot wear it. But look at it. Yeah, still not this one. I got you. But this one. The bow. My man. It has mana stolen per hit. Even though it doesn't have life stolen per hit, I still have a ring with life stolen. I got such a huge upgrade from this boss. This felt so amazing. Even the damages increased so much, and now I can actually use magic arrow to generate mana instead of throwing javelin, because keep in mind, javelin is still has to regenerate, and it regenerates slowly, but magic arrow does not need to regenerate, which means I have infinite amount of mana. this felt amazing. And the challenge I thought this might be dead, I cannot continue, became actually possible, and we can continue to Act 3. And I thought we probably did the hardest part of the game. But oh boy, I was wrong, because what's coming next is even worse than Duriel. But that's for another video, because it's already 30 minutes and my throat is killing me because I'm editing this video for 7 hours. Yeah, 7 hours for just one 30-minute video. I'm not good at this, I know. But I was talking for 7 hours, so I really need to rest my throat. But thank you for watching, I really hope you enjoyed this challenge, and trust me, the next one will be even worse than Duriel, which, to be honest, even I didn't know it can be worse. But yeah, it is. So, see you there, and thanks again.